Hey guys, welcome back to Release the Craftin. Priscilla here with another tarot deck unboxing video for you guys. This one I'm very excited about. This one just sort of popped up on my suggested for you feed, and I was like, you're right, that is for me. Because as you guys may have known, if you are following me for quite a while, I am on a mission to collect a bunch of mythological, story-based, fairy tale type tarot decks. So that's sort of my current obsession when it comes to finding, procuring, and obtaining tarot decks, is getting this variety. But I also, in my personal practice, work with Greek deities, so this one is like a no-brainer. I needed this one. So this is the Mythos Tarot, Guidance from the Greek Gods by Helena Elias. And you guys, the box is huge, like hand for scale. That's my entire hand, which is very exciting. The cards look really cool just from this little preview here, and I am very, very stoked to get inside. So let's see what's in store. That took a surprising amount of upper body strength that I was not prepared for plastic. This box is really pretty. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to live in this box because it's very pretty. But let's crack it open. There we go. So we got a giant guidebook and the tiniest cards to go with it. That is so upsetting. I was hoping that they would be like bigger than my hand cards. They are not, but the guidebook, it looks like, has photos of every card, which is very neat, and it also looks like it goes into a lot of detail. So for upright and inverted, they have the risen and fallen, and then a little bit about the deity himself, and I'm gonna bet that in the meaning there's some more expansion on the stories there, which is very cool. This is very cool. I'm very excited to get in here. If this book could have just been smaller, they could have preserved some box space. And now I'm rethinking my feelings about this box because, as you guys know, this is my biggest pet peeve in the world. Oh, apparently you can get some thing on a freaking app. I don't care about that. But you can if you want to. I guess that comes with it. But yeah, this is like my biggest pet peeve in the world, is this wasted amount of box space. Because why? They could have just been bigger cards or a smaller book. I don't know. That's my personal beef. I don't think anyone feels as strongly about that as I do. But like, I don't know what it is. It's just a waste of space. I get mad too when like I get a package that comes in and it's like this big and the box is this big. Like it drives me crazy. So I think it's just one of those things that will forever irk me. But I will say I am happy to report that these cards are gilded, and that's very pretty, and I love that a lot. So let's see. So let me bring you guys in so you can see that better and I don't have to shakily hold it in front of the camera. How's that? That's pretty good, right? So on the back here, the back is very nice. It's very muted. I like the colors. It's also very glossy. Ring light. So yeah, that's fun just on its own. I will say this is pretty thin cardstock, you guys. I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty thin cardstock. I don't even know how to convey that to you through the media of film. Well, maybe I can. Hold on. I have ideas. I have abundance of cards to compare it to. How do I open this? Like a book. Okay. So this is a card from the Literary Tarot versus this card from this tarot. I don't know if you can see that, but this one, I don't know how to show you guys that. This one is definitely thicker. It's a sturdier card weight. This is a lot thinner. So maybe if I move it like this a little bit, you can see the difference. So yeah, this cardstock is thin. It's probably one of the thinner cardstocks I've had for a deck, which is a little bit disappointing. But granted, this was not the same cost as the Literary Tarot. That deck was definitely pricey, so the cardstock is better, and I would expect that from a deck that costs more. But that being said, let's see what the cards look like. Or I already dog-eared this one. Look at that. Yeah, so that's going to be like my main takeaway from this, is that the cardstock is very thin, and I need to not like manhandle it, but I did it. I already did it. So that's sad. But the first card we have is Pan for the Fool. And that's a very interesting choice. I'm going to take that as like a back to nature, nature being the beginning sort of thing, as part of the Fool's journey. It's a very pretty card though. This is gorgeous. I already know like the whole deck is going to be super gorgeous and I'm going to be obsessed. So for a magician we have Hecate, and that's, ooh, crunchy. We have, that's the perfect card. Like who else? There's one goddess of magic, and she definitely should be the magician. This is really pretty. I don't know if you can see here. That detail is really gorgeous. So there's lots of good details here. There's a key. This is like, it looks like a snake, but its head is like cut off in the frame. And then she's got like the athame, so like the tools of the magician trade, her torches, some more key motifs here. I can't see this with my regular eyes, but it just looks like beads. You guys can see it. It's also very interesting how like on camera this has got like a sort of canvas texture on top, but I can't see that with like my regular eyesight. It just looks normal to me. But you'll see like the, I don't know if you can catch it here because my ring light wants to be center stage. But it's gilded, like not in the same way that the edges are. It doesn't have that like super bright foil, but the gold here on the moons and stuff, the gold accents do stand out in the light. So that's really neat. And then for the High Priestess, we have Persephone. And considering that she straddles both life and death, that makes a lot of sense for the High Priestess card. So that's a very good pull. This is a very pretty card. I would say my only disappointment with this is that most depictions of Persephone are having like nut brown skin from being in the sun all day. Missed opportunity, but still, this is a very beautiful card. I'm not mad at it. And next up we have the card that was on the cover. This is the Empress. This is Hera. There's a lot of like weeping imagery here, but like gold is supposed to be the color of ichor, the blood of the god, so maybe that's what it's alluding to. But this is still very beautiful. I love the white like peacock feathers. This is a very generous depiction of Hera too, because most depictions of her are like ugly old crone because people are haters. And then for the Emperor we have Zeus. And yeah, kind of mad at this for making Zeus so attractive. But then I get it. For the Hierophant we have Dionysus. That's an interesting pick. But I will say he did pass a lot of like judgment and had a very strong moral ground. So that does make sense to me. It doesn't, it's not a bad pick here. Oh, that's just dust from the foiling. But still really pretty. And for the lovers, of course, you have Aphrodite. It can't be anyone else. Oh, look how pretty that is. And then for the Chariot, we have Apollo and Crunchy, which is an interesting pick. I'm now curious to see who they put for the sun. But the Chariot makes total sense. He does drive the sun across the sky in a chariot, so very, very reasonable pick. Very cool. For Strength, we have Atlas, which is a good one, carrying the world on his shoulders. These cards are really pretty. I think my only like negative takeaway is going to be how thin the cardstock is, but otherwise these cards are gorgeous and I love them. I love the like collaged art style. There's lots of things like added in on top, and then like it fits into this overall motif. I really love the like the Nouveau framework. That's also very cool. But for the Hermit we have Hermes, which also makes sense. So like yeah, these are really good matches. can tell that a lot of like thought went into the process here. And then for Wheel of Fortune, we have Demeter. These are really pretty. So you can see like the gold accents picking up on here. So they're not like super shiny foil gilding, but they're like gold, which is nice. They're metallic, which is really nice. So this is really pretty. And for Justice, we have Themis, who of course is the goddess of justice, so that is appropriate. And she's actually the figure that you see in a lot of courthouses. That's Themis that they put up there with her scales and her sword. So, very cool. And for the Hanged Man, we have Prometheus. And for a card about sacrifice, that makes total sense. That martyr aspect. And for Death, we have Thanatos, which I am so happy that it's Thanatos, because Thanatos is the actual god of death. Hades is the god of the underworld, and it's not the same thing. So the fact that they pulled Thanatos on this one tells me that they did their research, and it's also like a very, very good pick. I'm very happy with that. It's very cool. And then for Temperance, we have Artemis. Okay, sorry. There was a piece of plastic touching my leg, and I appropriately panicked, thinking it was a bug. And look, for the Devil, we have Hades, which is perfect, but look at... Look! So cute. This is very cool. This is a very cool card. I can definitely tell I'm going to enjoy working with this deck. For the Tower, we have Poseidon, who is also known as the Earthshaker, so that makes a lot of sense. Man shakes things up, causes storms, does some like dig things to Odysseus. That happens. And for the Star, we have Nyx, and that's very cool. She's really pretty. She's also very dark on this, which makes sense because she's the goddess of night and darkness, so like there it is. But I would like it if she stood out a little bit more, but otherwise like she's still really pretty on this card. And then for the Moon, we have the goddess of the moon, Selene. Look how pretty that is. And then for the Sun, of course, you have the Titan of the Sun, Helios. And that makes sense. So very cool. And then for Judgment, we have Athena, which is a very interesting pick. This pose is a very interesting pick for Athena. I don't know if that's my favorite Athena style pose, but, you know, I guess we're all prone to thirst traps every now and again. And then for the World, you have Gaia, who, of course, is the world. So that makes total sense. And look how pretty she is. I do like that we're getting some people of color represented in this. Because, like, you know, antiquity didn't exist in a vacuum. And then we're into the court cards. So now we have the Ace of Wands, which is Hephaestus. And for a fire card, that makes sense. Two of Wands, we have Asclepius. So I think the interesting thing about this is that you're going to need to know your mythology for these cards to make sense. For the Three of Wands, we have Ananke. I think that's how you say it. I've never heard anyone pronounce it out loud, so there we go. But yeah, I think because there's not a lot of like traditional tarot imagery in here, you're gonna have to know your mythology to make these cards make sense. Which is fine, because if I don't know, I'll learn, and I love to learn. That's kind of like my personal motto, is always be learning. So for Four of Wands, we have Hestia. Look how pretty she is. I love this. Five of Wands, we have Zealous. I love the color scheme on this one. It's very like Miami 90s, like party club vibes colors. Okay, and for the Six of Wands, we have Nike. It was a weird cut, but I needed some water. And I had to look at how long this video is, so I'm going to go a little bit faster through the court cards than I did through the majors, because, not the court cards, the minors, that I did through the majors, because I don't want this to be an 11-hour video. For 7 of Wands, we have Soteria, and I don't know who this one is, so I am excited to learn about this. She's very pretty, and I love the little rabbit, very sweet. And then for the 8 of Wands, we have Atalanta, and I love that. I love how crunchy these cards are. That's so satisfying, you guys. Look, we have Atalanta, and she's so cool. And I talk about her all the time. She's like one of my favorite myths. And then for 9 of Wands, we have Bia. So very cool. 10 of Wands, we have Iris, who is the goddess of rainbows. So, like, I love that, like, holographic-y rainbow halo in the background. This is very pretty. She's also a messenger, so, like, the wings sort of allude to that. And then we have Hemera for the Page of Wands. Look how pretty that card is. I love this card. And for the Knight of Wands, we have Heracles. And they use the Greek spelling of his name, so doubling down. I am pleased with the amount of research that went into this and how well these are matched. That's very cool. Queen of Wands, we have Psyche. Psyche is the goddess of the soul, but she started out as an immortal, as a mortal woman. I told her story when I did Eros and Psyche, so if you have not or are not familiar with that, you can check it out on Storycraft. It is in the playlist somewhere towards the beginning. And then for the King of Wands, we have Cronus, and this is a very cool depiction of Cronus. It's really interesting. Let me just get closer to that. It's like tripping me out that there's this like canvas painted sort of texture on these cards, and I can't see that with my eyeballs. So I'm trying not to think about that too much. For the Ace of Coins, we have Aeolus. And then 2 of Coins, we have Oceanus. I love the wave over the eyes. That's very cool. The little crabs holding the coins. That's pretty cool too. The 3 of Coins, we have the Morai. These were the Fates. See, they wove like the thread of life, which is a really cool aspect there. That's just a really pretty card. 4 of Coins, we have Epipharon? Epipharon? Maybe? I don't know about this one, so I will have to look that up too. A lot of hands in these. That's an interesting choice. 5 of Coins, we have Pena, who I also am not familiar with. She looks very sad. But it's nice to get like a different pose in here. And then 6 of Coins, we have Thea. Or Thea. Look at the eyes on her dress. And she has 2 sets up there. That's very cool. And the 7 of Coins, we have Calliope. And 8 is going to be Chiron. I wish that there was more I could like tell you guys about this, but I could really spend like hours just going over each of the myths, and then we would be here forever. And I told myself after the last one I was not going to be here forever doing this one. So I'm just going to read them and keep moving. For the 9 of Coins, we have Plutus. I like that. It's a very cool detail. 10 of Coins, we have Tyche. I like how these mirror each other. Like, one of them looks unhappy with all of their abundance, and the other one looks very content and satisfied. And that's just, like, a really good juxtaposition. And then, for the Page of Coins, we have Horny. And I don't know who she is, but I'm very interested. Her color scheme is really evocative. And now I have questions. For the Knight of Coins, we have Zephyros. A lot of wind deities in the coin suit, which is interesting. Interesting choice. The Queen of Coins. We have Rhea, who was the wife of Cronus. So very cool. And then the King of Coins, we have Hyperion. This was a Titan. As well, Ace of Cups. We have Pontos, whom I'm also not familiar with. But I like his card. Some really good color choices in here. A lot of color to like set the mood in the scene. And then that's foil dust. The Two of Cups, we have Hermaphroditus. That's a very, very cool card. I'm also just pleased that they included them because it's a cool myth. There we go. And then the Three of Cups, we have the Graces. That's very pretty. Although, like, if I was her in the middle, I'd feel so awkward. I'd be like, could you, like, maybe just a little space, you guys? But, you know, she seems okay with it, so. For the Four of Cups, we have Styx. And this is the Titan goddess of the river, Styx, in the underworld. So I really like how the cups have been incorporated into her, like, veil, which is also her hair. Also the river. So very cool. And for the Five of Cups, we have Levy? Leave? I think it's Leave. It could be Levy. This is also another river. This is the one that makes you forget when you go to the underworld. It makes you forget your mortal life. And you can see that come across here really well. And then Six of Cups is Mnemosyne, right? Because MN is silent. The M is silent. Mnemosyne. I heard Stephen Fry pronounce this once, and I told myself I was going to remember, and then clearly I've already forgotten. But this is a very cool card. This is the Goddess of Memory. And then we have Hesperus. And I think it's interesting is that he also has the crying motif, but while the other gods were crying like Igor, he's just crying like neon tears. Surrounded by the Hesperids, I'm going to assume. But that's very cool. And for the Eight of Cups, we have the Ferryman, Charon. I think I would get in the boat if this was the Ferryman. Not gonna lie. For the Nine of Cups, we have Amphitrite. Amphitrite? I said that with confidence, and now I doubted it. See, I don't know. Amphitrite. Maybe. She's the wife of Poseidon, so definitely makes sense that her motif is underwater. And then we have the Naiads. So we have some more like watery deities in this one than we did in coins, which is reasonable for cups, but coins had a lot of air deities. For the Page of Cups, we have the Goddess of Youth, Hebe. And she's cute. She could be a child, though. I think she's usually depicted as a child up until she marries Hercules, or Heracles long after he dies when he goes up to Olympus. Like, so maybe she shouldn't be a child. Why? Why am I like this? It's just that she's the goddess of youth, and I would expect her to look more youthful, but she looks very youthful. But now I'm just overthinking it. For the Knight of Cups, we have Morpheus. And then in the Queen of Cups, we have Phoebe. It's a very cool name. And a very pretty card. And then for the King of Cups, we have Coeus. I don't know who that is, but I like his card. It's very, like, peaceful, clear-headed, as you would hope the King of Cups would be. And then, for the Ace of Swords, we just have Chaos. It's just Chaos, so I'm a little bit confused. Although I guess Eris is the goddess of discord and not chaos specifically. So I don't know about just chaos on their own. That's like before Erebus. Now I have to think about it. I'm going to read it later. I'm not going to do it right now. But then we have, for the Two of Swords, we have Nemesis. And the Three of Swords, we have Eros. Which is very interesting. It's a very interesting depiction of Eros. But I kind of get it. He's also kind of a villain, depending on how you read Greek mythology. So, you know, maybe he doesn't need the most generous depiction. For the Four of Swords, we have Hypnos. And that's very cool. There she is. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so we have Eris. For the Five of Swords, I like her color scheme too. Noticing a lot of like a lot of the chthonic deities are in darker colors, and then like the Olympians are in brighter colors, the more positive aspects. But like the darker deities get this like really cool, like sort of neonish colorway, which is very, it's a really interesting just sort of choice in colors. But then we have Eos, goddess of dawn. She's very pretty. Ooh, and for the Seven of Swords, we have the Erinyes. That's very cool. They're very cool. I love that they're depicted as older women, too. That's just great. And for the Eight of Swords, we have Medusa. I was hoping she would make an appearance. And that's just a very beautiful card. And for the Nine of Swords, we have Phobos, which is the god of fear, phobias. And that makes a lot of sense for a pick for the Nine of Swords. And for the Ten of Swords, we have Melpomene. Maybe I just can't pronounce it. I'm not going to dwell on it. But this is a very, very cool card. I love the way that these look. I mean, it looks very uncomfortable, but as far as the artwork goes, it's really beautiful. And there we go. We have the Page of Swords. I know how to say it. Which is Erebus. And the Knight of Swords, we have Ares. I was wondering when he was going to show up. It took him a long time to get here. But it's a very appropriate card. Queen of Swords is Circe, which is really pretty. I love that choice. And the last up, for the King of Swords, we have Uranus. And that's really cool. So yeah, this deck is really great, you guys. I love this. I look forward to working with it. I think it'll really work well with my personal, like, witchy practice. There's a lot to love here and a lot to learn. Looking forward to going through the book. Yeah, I'm going to say that my only takeaways is that this cardstock could have been thicker, and I hate how much space is wasted in that box. So yeah, probably going to have to rehome that, because I usually end up taking the books out, especially when they're like large like this, because this is something I can pop into my bag and then read when I want to like just study on it and look into it more. And then I have a giant box with just these little tiny cards in them, and they're not tiny by any means. They're very standard tarot deck size, which is fine. I'm not mad about it. But if you give me a giant box, I want giant cards in it. That's just how I feel. So yeah, I probably will come up with another thing for these, and then maybe turn that box into like a trinket thing, because it is a very nice box. I'll just remove the lining on the inside. I don't know. I think I'm the only person who feels that strongly about that kind of thing. But I also just think like those inserts are ugly. Like, you have such a nice box, and then you have this like this thing here. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. If anything, I'll probably just wrap these up in a nice like tarot cloth, and then stick them in the box after I pull out that lining with the book, and it'll all just sit there nicely. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this deck. I do like it. I wish the cardstock was thicker. I am very excited for it. I love the artwork. I think the artwork is really beautiful, and I think it's really nice to have a deck that doesn't have all the traditional like Rider-Waite-Smith tarot elements in it, because it allows my brain to flex a little bit differently instead of looking for like particular symbols to sort of give me an idea of like how to read, especially since I consider myself to be more of an intuitive reader than a by the book reader. Like allowing myself to sort of see deeper meaning into the cards than just picking out the symbols in them is a very fun exercise, and I do really enjoy that. So yeah, I really like these cards. I think they're great, and I think they'll hold up fine to shuffling. I just think that they're going to be prone to getting damage like this one did immediately, which makes me a little sad. It also makes me sad because I traditionally shuffle. I don't like do the hand shuffle thingy. I just traditionally shuffle like a deck of cards, which means that this deck is going to eventually warp, and it'll be curved at some point because the cardstock is thin, which also doesn't ruin the deck for me. It's just one of those things I'll be like, oh, well, you did this to your deck yourself. And it probably won't take very long either to happen. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Which was your favorite card? And there's a lot of myths in here, which is definitely nice. And I'll be able to look at this deck for when I'm like struggling to come up with ideas for Storycraft. I'll be able to just be like, hey, pick a card and we're going to tell the story of Hecate, or at least do like an episode on her. So that's very cool. And if there is a deity in here that you saw that you want a episode of Storycraft on, you could definitely leave that comment below. I will come back to that later. I am looking at building up my Storycraft ideas for the next year to come, because we're almost halfway to my 100 episode goal, which is very exciting. But yeah, I gotta have the ideas and the stories to get there. So yeah, it is what it is. That's it. That's all I got. So I appreciate your faces if you made it to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, happy crafting. Bye.